What up? This is Shad, and you are listening to Cabbages Podcast.
And so, like, the budget for this is something like $20 million, allegedly. I didn't get it from the best, most reliable sources, but like $20 million. And like the thing comes out, it does like 3 million in its first weekend. It was like number 9 at the box office that week. Just absolutely brutal. Like it was beaten by two other new movies came out that week. One was The Invisible, which is a teen thriller, was at number 2. Never even heard of this thing. I think David Goyer was involved in it. And then number 3 movie that week was the movie Next, where Nicolas Cage plays a Las Vegas magician who could kind of see into the future a bit. So like that's what it's up against, and it loses that badly to those movies. So super embarrassing there. Obviously, the critics did not like this movie at all. Rotten Tomatoes puts down a 16%. And it makes sense when you read some of these. The one that really got me was I went and read the New York Times review. The Times called it quote, tailor-made for those who like their violence multifaceted and their women monosyllabic. And it went on to write that, quote, Mr. Austin displays the acting ability of a tranquilized tree stump. Like they do not like Stone Cold Steve Austin at all. Nobody wanted this. What are you doing, Jeff? What?
Photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh.
Oh, okay, yeah, fine. Let's just get the guest in. We've got a fantastic guest ahead today. We've got Shad.
What?
We're talking about The Condemned, starring Stone Cold
What?
Steve Austin.
What?
There's no beer in this movie, so we're already at a loss for
What?
Stone Cold.
What?
We're just gonna get into it. We'll be right
What?
back. We'll be right back. All right, I am thrilled to introduce our guest for today's show. Joining us now is Shad, the Canadian rapper one might describe as the Bard meets DeBarge. Now, with some 2 decades in the rap game, he's logged a whopping five Polaris Music Prize shortlist nominations, plus a pretty famous Juno Award win for his 2010 album TSOL. So, like, you may also know him from his work on the Emmy Award-winning Netflix series Hip Hop Evolution, and he just dropped his stunning 7th studio album called Start Anew. It's got features from Homeboy Sandman and Ross Fresco. You can cop it right now on Bandcamp or wherever music is streamed or sold. So be sure to grab that one as soon as possible. Hell, pause the episode. Take a moment. Pause the episode. Go get it. Come right back. We'll be here. We're not going anywhere.
We'll
This is
be here.
recording. We're fine.
We'll
We're
do
recording.
anything to make sure that you're comfortable as listeners.
We just want you to get it. Hello, Shad, and welcome to the show.
What's up? What's up?
We're so lucky to have you, buddy. Thank you.
Before we get into talking about this movie, I'm sorry. Before we get into it,
okay,
I'm
we're gonna
sorry.
get into it. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna maybe we should just apologize for anything else. I am sorry that we made you watch this movie. I am legitimately sorry.
There were 4 or 5 times into it where I was like, have I seen this? It's one of those movies where, like, if you saw it, you don't remember if you've seen it.
I'm looking forward to forgetting at some point. That's gonna be really nice when I can just
Really
like
nice.
forget about having seen this movie. The one thing that this movie and your album have in common, and you're like, where is he going with this? Is that it really is about fresh starts and new beginnings.
It is.
Both things. So tell me a bit about why that topic was of interest to you, especially at this stage in your career.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's some connections, to career and thinking about, just this stage of life and this stage of career and trying to continue to be kind of brave about how I go about things and making sure things are always interesting to me, fresh to me, always a bit of an evolution. But really, I was thinking about the world and how, there's a lot of problems. And I think what's going on at bottom, or what's in any case required, is that we have the courage to try something different. We've reached a point where, there's countless examples, but you take the climate for one example, right? Okay, well, we know there's an issue, but the challenge at bottom is that, like, well, we've done things a certain way, and it's hard to change. It's hard to embark into the unknown, even if we know that the way that we're doing things isn't working, right? So So I was thinking about it a lot on that scale, on that level of like kind of like big problems, but it relates to life, it relates to career, it relates to all sorts of things. It's a fundamentally human challenge of like how do you abandon what you know and step into the unknown, even if what you know isn't working, even if what you know is stale or even destructive.
Yeah. Obviously, like, as a subject matter, like when artists get to a certain age too, it's like there's certain things that happen in life, the experiences, and being, of the age that we all are sort of around the same age on this call. It does affect kind of what we listen to and a lot of the artists. I find that I tend to listen to a lot of rappers who are in their 40s at this point. Like
Yeah.
I'm still listening to 20 somethings who are killing it. I'm still listening to 30 somethings who are killing it. But I sort of find a certain kinship with those, especially as you think about kind of where you're headed and where you're going.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think that's such a cool thing about hip hop. Like somebody asked me in an interview a little while ago, like, um, I mean, it's a bit of an old question, but like, should artists age out of hip hop?
mm,
And what I said was, interestingly, like I actually think older hip hop artists is kind of it's more of a fresh frontier within hip hop, actually.
mm,
You know what I mean? We've heard the stories of young artists coming up a lot. Like it's still cool and it's still almost like fundamentally a part of hip hop to hear the story of a young artist, a young person trying to find their way, you know what I mean, and stake their claim to whatever it is and where they come from and who they are. But it's an entirely new frontier to hear KRS-One, Black Thought, whoever these artists are that are even a cohort older than us, you know what I mean?
sure.
um, Let alone our age and stage, and try to approach, speaking about life stage we're in, or one beyond us, in a way that's interesting. That's actually new.
Yeah. Like we're
100%.
Yeah.
I think that there's also like this renaissance of people that they've had children, they've raised those children, and now they have time and they go back to music. And
Yeah.
one of the coolest and funnest things to do is to make beats and rhyme over them.
Yeah.
And you get these like totally new, fresh perspective from rappers that weren't around before.
Yeah.
And now we have them at like 38 to like 50, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention another thing I've noticed is that every kind of generation of hip hop is in touch with a certain kind of feeling of hip hop and vibe. And the next generation is going to be better at that next generation's style, but
Right.
they'll actually never be as good. We still keep going to Pusha T for that.
For
That
that.
Yep.
that
For
style.
that.
For that.
Mm.
That's right.
And I remember seeing KRS-One live recently, and I was like, man, he's the best live performer in rap. You can't get better than that, because he's from the time when all there was killing a show or ripping up a battle. That's all there was.
Right.
So you're not going to be a better performer than that. That's all hip hop was going down to the Latin Quarter and trying to be the best rapper in New York. So,
Yeah, no, and I really think about it that way because like I think about this like Max B is about to get out of prison.
yeah,
Like so Max B is finally getting out of prison and there's a flyer up on his Instagram for
yeah,
what are essentially a series of club appearances. And I realized like club appearances, the more we're talking about this particular thing, like is a lane that didn't exist for a
yeah,
KRS-One. That wasn't even a thing.
You
no,
couldn't
It
just go
was
hang out on stage. You were up
like,
there
but
working.
you got paid to go appear at a club. I bet
yeah,
like whether it's a nightclub or a strip club or whatever it is,
yeah,
like that is a lane that exists because of a certain generation. And to kind of piggyback onto your point, will
yeah.
continue in perpetuity so long as that is part of how the culture is transmitted to people,
Yeah,
right?
1,000%. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I like where hip hop has gotten to this point where, yeah, there's different generations that can bring a feeling that other generations can't bring. And there's also artists, like you said, that now have the time and the bandwidth to make music, and they got nothing to lose. There's no fear. So they're just like approaching it in a fresh way. Like, I don't know. I think the whole genre is better because it's bigger now. It's broader. Yeah.
And I think creativity is a big factor in all that. And one of the things on a previous season of this podcast, we did what we called a rapper movie season. And we basically talked about all these different rappers who tried their hand at film, whether they were as in front of the camera, behind the camera, like that became a big thing.
Yeah.
And as we're kind of exploring in this season, which is focused on wrestling, a lot of these sort of pro wrestling figures tried their hand at it. There were a few who were kind of early pioneers, or sort of,
Yeah.
Roddy Pipers and folks like that. And then you kind of get into the next era of that when you get into, say, like the Attitude Era of the WWF. And those guys all start going, and Vince McMahon and putting money behind it. So there is this sort
Yeah,
of
and
thing.
there's also
There's this question about like how does someone transition from one field where they're known and respected,
Yeah.
and for whatever their reasons are, take that creative energy to try to bring that somewhere else.
and
Yeah.
that second generation too, with like this Stone Cold movie totally proves it.
Hmm.
There was no lane for an actor to like just have WWE movies to sharpen the craft.
Hmm.
You can't just go act in an action movie and be like, cool, it doesn't really matter because it's for all of this. It like fits in our universe anyway.
Hmm.
And so it's just kind of for our fans. So I can just go in and learn how to do this, learn how it's done. That didn't exist. We covered already the Hulk Hogan movie, No Holds Barred with
Yeah.
Zeus.
Yeah.
And, it's a piece of shit, but
It's a
it
terrible
is
movie.
the first vehicle where a wrestler was given the lane.
Yeah.
This is really the first time anyone has been like, we can just make a lane
And
and
how
figure it out.
and how else are you going to know unless you try, right? I found that interesting
Yeah.
watching rappers, because I almost found is like inverse relationship between who I thought would be a good actor that was a rapper and who was.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
There
Like
are some
who would?
surprise.
Yeah, I'm with
there's
you.
there's some surprises about, like, for example, like we watched this movie in that season called Down with the King. Freddie Gibbs,
Yeah.
who was
Hmm.
like, it's a dramatic role. He's playing like a
I
famous
liked that
rapper
movie.
who's sort of like in basically kind of has to step out of the spotlight to get some private time so he can create again and find himself. And it's like totally fascinating. And like I knew he would be acting well because you watch the music videos and you can see like he has that. But I always thought he'd be more of a comedic actor. And then you see him, he did that great TV show. He was showed up on he's done really fantastic stuff on TV comedy stuff. But like to do this very serious role is like, whoa. Versus like some other actors we've seen, like Ice Cube, for example, it really depends on the role. You could be doing like it could be Friday, it could be Players Club, or it could be War of the Worlds by
Yep.
Amazon. You don't you don't really know which version of things you're gonna get
Still,
necessarily.
honestly, for the voracious appetite I have for terrible movies, I'm not motivated to see it.
No.
Yeah.
A movie
No.
with an Amazon drone is part of like
I'm a
the
huge.
plot points.
I love Stone Cold. I
Yeah.
love wrestling, but it never really occurred to me until this podcast lineup we put together to be like, oh, I really need to sit down and
Yeah.
watch the fucking Condemned.
Yeah.
I never. It just was like, oh, I'm gonna let like Stone Cold's movie career be itself without me. That was my plan all along.
Yeah.
And now here we are. I'm in there.
Look what
I
made
have
you
now
do.
I've seen the eye of the storm, and I just await the back end of it now.
So before we get too deep into the actual movie discussion, because I feel like we're on the precipice of this thing,
We're right
Shad,
there.
were you ever much of a pro wrestling fan? Was wrestling ever something that you were interested in, either as a child or any other point in your adulthood?
Yeah. When I was a little kid, I was into, I loved the Piper. I was like that era. So it was, for me, it was Roddy Piper, the Rockers.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I still remember when The Undertaker came on the scene, and that was crazy with Paul Bearer.
Yeah.
I was a Hulkamaniac.
Feel like we all were in a way.
Yeah. But I wasn't into the Warrior. The Warrior was too wild for me.
Really?
Just all got into that energy, but I was like, this guy needs to calm down. Like he was just, I couldn't understand him.
You hear all the rumors like everyone was on coke, or whatever. I know that's not true, but like for the most part, a lot of
of
dudes
them
were
were.
doing a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
And then there was this like human personification of drugs that ran hard to the ring and were like, drug, 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 drug. That was what it looked like. When you go back and look at it now, it's very exciting. It's very fun. The crowd pops are insane, but
Yeah.
he was just a human line of cocaine. It was wild.
I think I could tell on some level, even though, as an 8-year old, like there's drugs involved with this for like his pure speed getting to
Insane.
Mm.
yeah.
So you're a superstars era guy. Did you at all hang out in the Attitude Era? Which like
That's
Rock, Stone Cold, etc. Yeah, yeah, DX is a big part of it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
the X thing. Yeah. Not really. Not really. You couldn't escape it. You couldn't really escape it. It was so big, but I wasn't like I wasn't that into it though.
And so,
that's actually where I kind of picked up there.
Okay.
oh, okay. That's where you
So like
started.
Superstars era, I was not allowed to watch. My
Okay.
parents were both, I wouldn't say staunchly against. They didn't really like think about wrestling. It wasn't something that came up in our household. So
Does
I
your
kept
mom,
up through friends.
wait, Jeff, does your mom know that you're doing a podcast about wrestling right now?
I'm in her basement right now. I'm in my mom's
So,
basement.
so,
We needed to do, one of us needed to be in his mom's basement to do the
this
wrestling
ep
pod.
this episode specifically,
This is it.
and you're there.
Like, yeah, we sat around and watched The Condemned. It was sick.
Well, that's the thing that too is kind of wild to me because like I was not somebody who watched the Attitude Era. Like
Yeah,
I think I caught some of it. I had some friends in like the early 2000s who were into wrestling and like I might go over to someone's house on a Sunday, go over, they'd barbecue or something and we watch them wrestling. That was something that happened, but I was not
sure.
vested in that period. So I didn't really see Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestled much. It was, and certainly not in any way that I feel was particularly memorable for me, but the phenomenon that was him was absolutely a thing. And
Yeah.
so when I started seeing as a connoisseur of bad movies that he was doing movies, that there were action things coming out with him, I was like, oh, this is the next thing. Okay, okay, fine. Yeah, they do their wrestling and then they do movies because we were seeing some of that starting to happen more
Yeah, The
in
Rock
that period.
was, I mean, The Rock skipped this step and just started doing movies. Like
Well,
he
he
was
was,
such a,
yeah.
but like Steve, had the like super redneck vibe, and that's limiting. The Rock is an everyman. Like he
Mhm.
speaks like everyone. He doesn't look like everyone, obviously, because he's a gigantic
He's,
monster.
he's an
But
enormous, enormous man.
he was just instantly sellable to like a larger audience. And I think this was supposed to launch Steve into that same, maybe not stratosphere, but
Yeah. Well, I think the idea is
this was
that,
going to be a big deal.
well, this is where you kind of go into like, there's this, by this point in film, this film comes out in 2007. By this, we sort of have these sort of, archetypes and we have these models and dare I say templates for what an action star and an action film can
Correct.
be. So like we've really gotten it now to the point where there's like, there's an entire industry of direct to
It's just a
digital
cottage industry.
actioners that's
Yes.
just like, and you can get real directors because it's just like the Hollywood system doesn't really want to make these films anymore. The bigger studios aren't making these films anymore, but you can be a smaller, you know, producer, you be a smaller filmmaker, work with, funding sources from all sorts of places, and get a distributor and put something out. It doesn't need a theatrical release to be successful. And you can work with some actors, obviously there's the sort of geezer teaser stuff too, where, okay, wow, Kelsey Grammer's in this one, or, and
Bruce
like
Willis did a ton of them.
Bruce
Yeah.
Willis did a ton of them basically, where he would go on for 2 days and they'd pay him $1 million for 2 days of work or whatever, just so they'd film him. So like that stuff in this era, but like before this era, like where we're looking at 2007, the models existed. Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme were sort of getting into this next period,
They were sort of phasing out in a way. Like we
yeah,
were
we're actually into the
by
Fast and Furious sort
2007,
of era.
we're oversaturated with Seagal and turning
Yeah.
to new things.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
For
getting
sure.
sort of the Fast and Furious era of stuff.
Yeah.
And so kind of thinking about this as sort of is there. Now, what you said kind of earlier when we first started talking was that there was a certain familiarity. Like, had I seen this before? Because this is like part of a particular subgenre in that, the Hunting Humans movie. And it's been so
This is
many
our
of these.
second Hunting Humans movie, I think, actually.
Oh God, it really is. Well, because like you have, things like The Running Man, which is very much like a very obvious parallel here, especially with some wrestling legacy out of Jesse Ventura. But then you also have things like Surviving the Game that Ernest Dickerson did with Ice-T,
We
and
did
you
that,
have
yeah.
which we've done on the show before, and you have all like Battle Royale had come out at this point, so like you had the sort of Asian ultra-violent movies, you had these different things coming through. So first impressions of this
Okay.
within the larger category, and I'm sure we'll get a lot deeper than this, but within that category, how do you
Yeah,
feel about this?
of hunting humans. Okay, so I was like, okay, what I was thinking was this really plays on. I wasn't thinking about other movies, but I was thinking of the WWE theme of the Royal Rumble.
Hmm.
Always
Hmm.
the most exciting event to me
The one that I definitely am going to watch every year if I'm watching a WWE pay-per-view. I
is
Yeah.
love it.
is the Royal Rumble. So I was like, oh, this is like a Royal Rumble.
Part of the problem here, before we even get into the performances, one of the biggest issues with this film is the script, is
Yeah.
the story. Because like you start off this film, you're in a Belarusian prison, and you're not really getting given much in the way of what's happening. We do get lots of exposition over that first like 15 minutes of movie, but like they really just drop you into this place and sort of expect you to kind of figure out what's happening. And then when it's like the multimillionaire is like, I want him, and then they
The
get
the
they get the guy.
context before that happens, the context of the first 10 to 15 minutes
Hmm.
is, huh, these are some bad dudes.
Yeah,
They're
some
doing
bad.
they're some wild folks in
Yeah, there
this
were
lineup.
times where I thought that maybe I hit skip or something because there's clearly not enough setup. There's not even
There's
remotely
none.
enough setup.
Which is
There's like,
crazy
here's a
because
bad
this movie
dude,
is so
here's a bad
long.
dude, here's a bad dude. Here are the producers being like, these are bad dudes.
Yeah.
Like, no, I know that guy just like killed some dudes. I got it. They're bad
So
dudes.
it's to me that is a failure of writing because if you're gonna sit here and watch a film that's about 2 hours long, you want to have some reason to care about these characters. When Stone Cold shows up 11 minutes into the movie, unless you are a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan, which I'm sure is what they were banking on, was his that he had such popularity that just him appearing on screen is enough to make it pop, enough to make it like a thing. But as somebody who wasn't, I see, oh, the star of the movie has shown up on screen and he's just feeding a rat on a prison windowsill.
Two rats.
Two rats, sorry, two rats
Yeah,
on a prison windowsill. And that is supposed to signal to me that he's a good person.
he's a pretty good guy.
He's a good person.
He's just caught up in some nonsense. That's all.
Yeah.
That's
Just
how
That's
you end up
don't.
in.
that's all it is. But I really felt like there wasn't enough context about the production company either.
Yeah, right.
Hmm, there was none.
The
There was
business plan is confusing.
there's literally none.
Mm.
What was their business plan?
I mean,
The
it's
the
itself
business
one.
plan is have a website,
Yeah.
show murders profit. That's basically what we've been given.
Just right there, like I'm already thinking of all the things wrong with that. One, it's the violations of international law is
Yeah.
kind of
Right.
right there. Like they have to do this below the radar, except he's going on and doing an interview with a world-renowned journalist of some sort about what he's doing.
Right.
So that happens.
Yeah.
So
Then,
like everyone knows this illegal thing is happening and that they know kind of where it's happening.
yeah, kind
So
of.
that's just kind of a known, right?
Like
Like,
eventually the Navy is going to find out where you are, right?
Yeah.
Eventually some authorities will find out
yep,
where you are. So like there's that. And then like what's the end game here? So like let's say you do like at 49.99 a pop, you
50
get
bucks.
40 million viewers to watch this thing and give you money. What are you going to do next? You can't, this isn't sustainable. You can't just keep, building up murder shows. Like you're going to be hiding the rest of your life.
Was the plan to get the kind of proof of concept and then sell it to like NBC or something? Like what was that the plan?
We
Also,
don't know for sure. I
Yeah.
like that idea in general, but I think honestly, from what we're presented, I
Mhm.
believe the plan to have been once this clears, once it ends, sneak out the back door, jump on a helicopter, pay nobody, and keep all the money.
I maybe.
I think
I
that was the plan. Because like as soon as my man starts griping,
Yeah.
at the end it was like, "Are you just trying to abandon us?" He's like, "You're dead.
yeah,
I'm just gonna
basically.
kill my. There's no
My best
debate.
friend.
There's nothing. He just turns around and murders his best friend, and
Well,
then is like,
technically his
gas up the
stooge kills
right,
his best friend. But at
right.
his
He
direction, I mean,
has
this
his
is
best friend killed. My
right,
apologies.
exactly. Yes, let's
I don't
not
want to give any credit to anything in the film that doesn't deserve it.
don't give this
But
film any
yeah,
more credit.
he orders his friend dead right in front and watches it happen, and then is like, "Shit, I gotta bail.
I gotta get on this
I gotta get out of
plane.
here."
I get on this plane now. And this get in this helicopter.
And
So
like,
like, yeah,
what I love
there's no
about it is
reason for
that
this.
the producer room,
Yeah.
the production room, just they just stay working. There's
They don't know
like,
any better.
okay, people are disappearing. Everyone who's in charge seems to be fleeing. There are murderous people who just freshly murdered people,
It did
just
happen.
hanging around the camp in a
Yeah.
camp full of guns. I got him. Let's make sure that we are good on cameras 5, 8, and 9, and that the rerun is running correctly. Let's hang out here. This is where we need to be.
No,
That's it.
The decision making in this film by every character is odd. Like Stone
Solid.
Cold Steve Austin playing this, at least at the start of this, a sort of gentle giant, who's dropped into this situation and like is like, I'm just not going to try to kill people. Stand his ground, but like, I don't want to hurt you, buddy. Kind of situation. Like you've been dropped on this island. Everyone's trying to kill you. Like you're supposed to be this secret special forces, special ops guy who's probably killed as as the government agent we meet at one point in the film suggests more people than anyone else on that all those people on that island combined. That's what he says. I guess from the start, the failings for me is that, and again, I attribute this to the script, is that we don't understand why anybody does anything in here, whether it's the crew,
no.
what's the crew's motivations, what's the inmates' motivations beyond survival,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like what's like the forming alliances
No,
just
okay,
feels
the
like a
team
reality
ups are
st
weird too.
yeah.
They're really weird.
Like why would
Can I ask a question?
of course.
Were either of you cheering for a particular person? Who were you cheering for?
I was struggling just to grasp. The whole time I was struggling to grasp, I couldn't even really cheer
Hmm.
because
Fair. Totally fair.
I was still trying to understand a lot of the logistics of the production company and how they contacted the prisons to get the people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they just have like these wild ends with, secret hidden prisons in like crazy combat zones and shit. Like they could just be like, "Yo, get Dave on the phone over at the like Laotian prison so we can get this guy." The guy we've been talking about. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. I got you, man. I got you. I got
Yeah.
you.
You know that
He'll
guy?
be on a he'll be on a plane in the morning. Everything forgiven.
Yeah. So I was still trying to catch up to that. And I was also trying to, because from time to time, the production company, they'd have the moral dilemmas. Like something would be too far.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, why is that too? What?
Like all of a sudden, you're like, oh no, the people that we hired to do awful things are doing them. They're doing them? I thought that they would just lay down their arms and like pray together for 30 hours and die.
That made no sense to me.
No sense whatsoever.
Because like I'm looking at this like this, okay? Like he's being really this multimillionaire. They make it very clear that he's not a billionaire yet.
Right.
Um, but he's on his way, and maybe this will be
But
his
he
the
has
thing that
sunk
brings him
his
over.
considerable fortune into a GeoCities site
Yeah.
that runs incredible ads,
Oh
the best
God.
ads of all
The
time. What
the
were they?
ba
I know you
Did
wrote
you
them
see
down.
any of the banner ads that were showing up on the
They're
screens?
incredible.
No.
It was like hottest music CDs. Like it
2007,
it's
hottest
it's
music
like it
CD.
was basically like Prodigy or AOL Online level banners for shitty things. Click on this. Like they're trying to monetize off of this thing they already charged pay-per-view on. It was just like purely just like what is this there? And then it also really makes me think about this as the fact that if this is 2007, if we're not meant to think this is in some dystopian future, but this is in fact our internet present of 2007,
Mhm.
Right.
high-speed internet at the rate that would be needed to stream video was still not really a household thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it was still like, I mean, like I'm gonna say I forget when YouTube started, but like this can't be much too far
Well,
from when that began. But like
when Stone Cold's
we
mystery
didn't even have
partner,
like we didn't even have streaming music platforms at that point
No.
in
not
time.
quite,
Like
not
we weren't
quite.
even there yet. So like you're trying to be like, I want to get the same viewership as the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
We
but I
were
want
at
them to
the
pay,
we
but I
were
want
at
them to
the
pay
end of
50,
the piracy era.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I want them to pay $50 for the privilege of it a piece.
Right.
And it's going to be just, we're going to hit cameras to where things are happening, and when the action happens, they'll see it. And they're going to be able to see it live. And
40,
it's
40
like it's
million
going to
people
lag.
tune
It's got to
in.
lag. It's got to lag at that stage.
Definitely. Yeah. No, the production quality, I was trying to think through that as well, like imagining this almost like Survivor level of production quality, but it's
They
obvious
have like
all.
250 cameras out there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They'll have like four in a spot. I'm like, where are you getting all this money for
Where's the
cameras?
powers coming from all this? Where's the
Where is it?
electric
Yeah. Yeah.
on this little
And they
island?
show you in the beginning when Mongo, we'll get there. We'll get there. All of this is going to be, we'll get there.
Just,
But when
just,
Mongo, in his
just.
one glorious scene,
That's
is
right.
electrocuting himself because nothing is working,
Yeah.
and then we get to action time, and it's like everything's working fine. Everything is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand how that's true.
Yeah. No, I was trying to catch up to that the whole time.
There were things that I thought the script might do that would help to alleviate some of my kind of my inability to detach from reality fully.
This the thing is the script. We talked about the script, and the script
Yeah.
is like 98.8% terrible,
And
right?
there's reason for that, but
And
we'll talk
then
about that in a
there's
sec.
and then there's 1.2% of it that has this like weird the whole world watching live streams thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like if you watched like old school weird Skinemax films, like late
Mhm.
night films.
Yeah.
Every now and again you watch one and be like, dude, this one's about virtual reality and it's fucking weird. Like I think they kind of nailed what virtual reality will look like and be. Like, yes, there are naked people and that part is fun. But
Yeah.
like also their views on technology and technology's mind control over people is a little wild for like the budget that they have. And I think that this is ahead of its I mean it's obviously ahead of its time because Stone Cold's partner rushes into a bar and is like, "You have high-speed internet, right?"
Yes. Yes. That's
So
just the
like if
thing.
that limitation exists, there's just no way they got 40 million people.
Exactly.
There's
Like
no way.
you need to have like a version of that script that says that this place takes place 10 to 15 years in the future so that it's still plausible that it is within our reach, but that it's not there yet. And
Right.
again, part of why this is because this script was subject to an alarming number of rewrites.
Yeah.
I
There's a lot of people credited with writing this thing.
so it's credited as a story to two dudes. It's credited to
We're
two
already
brothers.
one dude too many.
So Rob Hedden and Andy Hedden are credited the with the story. And then
Okay, so this my theory is this.
okay, go.
From
Let's
this
hear what you
point
think.
on, from this point on, and all the people you name, these people are Vince people.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
pre
yeah,
that,
yeah,
someone wrote like a real script, and
yeah.
then he was like, "Oh, the Arab guy has too many lines." You know what I mean? Like he came in and was like, "We need to make them scary monsters." Like,
Yeah.
So you're correct.
some of these women need to die. The thing, the
Uh,
big decisions that he loves to make.
Rob Hedden wrote the original script, and that
Yeah.
script got sent to. I read some interviews with Stone Cold Steve Austin about around this film,
Yeah.
and he got the script. They wanted him to play Vinnie Jones's part, the producers for that. He looked at it, said, "I'm
Boy,
going to
that would
show
have been
this to
different.
I'm going to show this to Vince." And then Vince says, "I
Uh,
want to make this movie." So they had Rob Hedden do a rewrite and then another rewrite. And then they finally were like, we can only get so far with this guy. He's not doing what we want him to do. And they brought in this guy, Scott Weiper, who's also the director of the film. And Scott Weiper did,
what
according
a
to
name.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, 8 to 9 rewrites of the script until Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin were happy with the results.
Can you just get to like, can you dial up the horrible sexism and the mistreatment with just a little more? Just put the screws to everyone who's not white. Just one more time. One more time. And then I think we've got it.
Like from the outset, okay, yeah. So two things. I was like, okay, so it's a Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Like there's WWE people involved with writing this because it's a Royal Rumble essentially, and it has the very particular wrestling racism of like,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's get like a Japanese guy, Arab guy. You know what I mean? Like let's get each
Dude,
one.
if you look back over the history of Vince with Arabs, holy shit, it's just awful. I mean, really awful. One of my favorite stories is do you guys know Patrice O'Neill?
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay, so Patrice O'Neill was a WWE writer. Stephanie McMahon saw him perform. Legend has it Stephanie saw him perform or knew of his performances. Came to him, he was like, I don't know, dog. And then she hired him. He came in, he witnessed a meeting where Vince basically had an Arab wrestler in. And he was like, we come out and he's in his like, the burqa and stuff. And he's like, I would just want to jump in and say that like me being seen in that garb, like because of the type of like the like religion that I'm from, it truly will like decimate my family and will turn members of my family against me. I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart, don't make me wear this turban thing. And Vince, there's a long silence, and Vince goes, so he'll wear the turban,
wow.
and then the match will go like this, and this is how we'll do it. And Patrice was like, that's all I need. I think it was on Opie and Anthony. He was like, that's all I need. I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, doc.
Yeah.
This ain't for me. This just ain't it. I'm
Crazy.
not doing this.
Crazy.
Terrible.
Sorry.
Terrible.
I love that story because it's like everything I love about Patrice and everything I hate about Vince.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was no, and it was just right off the rip. It was right off rip. Just
Yeah.
we need one of these, one of these.
They tried to cover that with the like we're trying to get different
Yeah.
nationalities to like cheer for their guy
Yeah. Which felt very,
excuse. And I'm like
which felt super cynical and like really,
100%
and like
cynical.
if I'm gonna give the screenwriters any sort of credit, it's that probably the kind of approach that sort of might be a sub at Vince McMahon in the same way that this like multimillionaire character Breckle or whatever his name is, like he sort of has a certain Vincey quality to him
Oh, he
that
sure does.
Vince would never recognize in
And
himself.
I feel
And
like all you had to do to fool in Vince, all you had to do to fool Vince with that is just be like, this is modeled after Bischoff. This is
yeah,
modeled after Ted Turner. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
after
Like it
a
doesn't
guy you
matter
don't
that
like
if it also mirrors you.
to a T.
We're doing this to like make fun of a guy who you hate, even if you are alike. It doesn't matter.
But like
But that's conjecture on my point.
but the racism and the sexism that pervade this film, it's just like you see things in an action movie and you do expect to see people who are bad and to signal that they're bad by their behavior
Yeah.
and what
Doing
they
awful
say and
things,
what they do.
sure.
You expect that. But there is such a brutality that basically that the non-white characters are subjected to and the non-male characters in particular are subjected to
Yeah.
throughout this story
Brutal,
that
dude.
it's just like and for me the first
As
time I really
soon as they
noticed
get on the island, he's like, all right,
before the
let's
island,
beat the shit out of this black girl.
but
Yeah.
dude, before the
Just as
island,
soon as we get on the island.
even before we get to the island, there is
True.
the scene where they have all been gathered together and they're
Yeah.
being basic and this is where
They're being
Vinnie
explained
Jones.
to what's going to
Yeah.
happen to them.
Yeah, so there's Vinnie Jones and he's there, and Vinnie Jones is standing because they're all standing next to the character Mackie, and Mackie is trying to figure out what's going on, and Vinnie Jones just calls him Rasta for no reason. He is not Rastafarian. He has
Yeah.
not reflected any sort of accent or patois. He is clearly not, um, you know, presenting in this way.
Yeah.
And that's how he refers to him right from jump. Is just calls
No,
him
he's
Rasta.
like Rasta, violent pieces of shit. You
Yank.
show your boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Yeah,
And
Yeah. Yeah.
cheap heat. We
that's the
call it cheap
first.
heat in the
That's
industry.
the. That's the
It's the
first
cheapest heat
indication.
possible, is just to come in and be like, all races are trash, women are garbage. Let's make some money.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just so hard to watch when you see that so transparently. It's like obviously if
Then
you
when they
watch,
sick the dogs on each other, you're like,
Yeah.
it gets even worse.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or the inverse of that, like the blonde lady that was in the production crew.
hmm
Like you could just the way immediately that they would kind of let the camera linger on her, you just kind of like know, oh, she's the nice person that just kind of got caught up in all this.
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a way of not having to tell the story and just have
Yeah.
it's more cheap heat. This movie is filled to the brim with cheap heat. The
Yeah.
And they make,
cheapest heat.
I think is there. That's the woman they treat the best in this film,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
she gets
and
slapped.
she's still a victim of domestic violence in the movie. She's still a victim of domestic violence in the film, and that what really gets me is that
I guess they
her
treated Stone Cold's love interest a little better.
they didn't treat her
But she
like
didn't get
anything. They didn't treat her
right. She
anything.
got the nothing treatment instead of getting the shit kicked out of her.
And they made her seem like an idiot. They made her seem like a dummy because there's that scene where he finally
To be
gets to a
fair, I
phone.
think maybe the character just is a dummy. Come on.
I don't know. He finally
Let's talk
gets
about
her on the
that
phone.
scene.
He gets her on the phone. She knows where he is at this point. She's seen him on the live stream. She
She
knows he's in
knows.
prison island danger.
Yeah, and
He's
then
gonna,
like
he could
they
die.
have put a series of like more cheapy series of horrible lies. Like he's a member of the KKK,
He
burned
burned
down
a
a
church.
church.
Yeah.
Like first of all, at that juncture of American society, church burnings, you could probably look them up. There was not that many,
At that
and know
point,
immediately like that guy didn't burn any churches down. We have all those dudes. They're all dead.
like
I don't know. Like if you're going to come up with a story for this guy, I don't know that burning to like we could do something better. You know what I mean? Like we could strive for better, but that just wasn't in the cards, I guess.
no.
Okay. Also, at this point, how many action heroes were called Jack?
Oh, that's an
Hmm.
interesting point. Well, you've got obviously your classic Jack Ryan,
Yeah.
your kind of
Mhm.
clear and present danger into Hunt for Red October, all that kind of stuff. Like you definitely have that stuff.
Jack Bauer
God,
already around.
Jack Jack Bauer 24 is already a thing. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I was like, you got to stop with the Jack already.
Yeah,
There there are more examples like we can guarantee you. There's I mean, even going further back, there's Billy Jack, there's all
yeah.
kinds.
I think the more you go through, like, kind of, if you look even some of those actors that we mentioned, and we say what they were names were in some of their movies, you'd find the name Jack in there. It is a generic name, even from that stage of it. They're not even trying to do anything interesting with him. And
Oh,
there's none of these names in these characters. Again, like it's funny to see them when you look at the credits or on IMDb and see that some of these characters had names. When you're like, they were never called these names. Maybe they, when the pictures were on screen, you saw some names, but they were never spoken of by their particular names. It was the Italian, it was the German.
Yeah.
That was kind of it. And and you really just don't. I mean, there's no development of any characters. There's no explanation for why they should be. We don't even really know what they did. They're all on some sort of death row, and most of them in sketchy,
They're all so yeah, they're all
dangerous people's
death
prisons.
rows.
But like,
They're all
what is?
death row inmates from
Yeah,
different countries.
countries.
And I don't, none of them are their country of origin,
Right.
which is wildly confusing.
Yeah.
Like at some point they're talking about this Arab guy, and like I don't even remember if we met him, and then he falls on a fence and dies.
We no, the guy who falls on the fence and dies is the Italian. The Arab,
He didn't
as
look
they call him,
Italian at all.
the Arab, as they call
Yeah,
him,
Yeah.
like he appears more or less wordlessly in a yard with a chain around him, and then
right. Okay.
Stone Cold messes him up real
That
good.
beginning is so weird.
It
So
just, yeah, I think you can tell, Chad, that we did not enjoy this film. This was not like we're
It
not
wasn't
finding
incredible.
we're not deriving pleasure from this. I think the cruelty and the brutality went over what I really want from an action movie, especially a dumb action movie. I don't necessarily want to see like they're torturing like what Vinnie Jones and his cohort, the Japanese, as they call him. Like, I mean, it's fucking,
Yeah.
it's not how lazy it is. Like, they're just
That's
torturing
the nicest thing they
men
call them.
and women. You know, like
yeah,
they're just, I mean, just for no reason. Like, it seems to me like there's a clock ticking, right?
yeah.
30 hours, right?
30
Whoever's
hours.
still,
You know what
what the last person
the
standing,
most fucked up part
and
of
they're
that is the
wasting
30
time with
hours
like torture
starts
kill.
before they get on the helicopter.
Yeah.
They start the timer and they're like, all right, now we've got to load up a helicopter and ride out like an hour to get you to this island. And I'm like, well, start it when they land on the ground or something, man. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Like you're starting them at a disadvantage, and also the consumer loses here.
Yeah.
You're losing valuable island time.
That's right. No, so little of it makes
I
sense.
paid $50 for this.
So it's like so when that guy they dropped that guy
Mhm.
on that spike and
The Italian.
the Italian on the spike, like the cruelty, the callousness at that point, you're like again, I'm like, who are these people that are making the show?
Right.
They're like they're all psychopaths to just do,
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Which makes their sort of
absolutely.
moral grandstanding stuff that happens in
No,
the
I was going to
studio
say the same thing. This
so
blonde woman is
absurd.
like, oh, I don't like it, and they're like, but you like when the guy when is it Breck when Breck makes the point, he's like, you know how stupid you sound. I'm like, actually, just this one time, I'm gonna run with Breck. You sound really stupid. He's
Yeah.
got the wrong ideas.
Yes.
I
Yes.
get it,
Let's be clear.
but he's not wrong about you sounding like an idiot because you
Yeah.
signed up for a murder show and then got mad about murder
I mean, that was the thing is like
and
I
rape.
don't
Fair enough.
and right, but I guess that's the thing is like, okay, this character, his girlfriend, Breckel's girlfriend, 25 minutes earlier in the film is over there. She knows what this is about, what's going to happen. She's made clear she's fully aware of what's happening, and she's on his side. She's in his corner, and
Yeah.
she's like excitedly pumping him up for his interview with the famous journalist. And then like 25 minutes later, she's like, "Well, I don't
Like, whoa,
approve of,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
I
whoa.
don't
One of these
approve
guys
of this."
died?
It's just so, it's such an undeserved thing because like if I were dating somebody and
Yeah.
this was what they told me they wanted to watch, let alone make, wanted to
Yeah.
watch this sort of
Yeah. They'd be
thing.
like, look, I'm going to spend $50 on this and be like, cool, man. Well, listen,
Um,
I'm never coming back here.
I'm leaving. I'm taking my bong with me, and we're no
It's
longer a
just, I'm going to
thing.
live under the bridge with my bong. No big deal.
Like that's
Enjoy
the
your
thing.
millions of, I guess, $1 billion that you're
Like
going to make
40 million people watching this, there has to be a lot of
times
disappointed
fifty
partners
bucks and all the banner ad money that they got.
from
Yeah.
hottest music CDs.
There was a second one too about auto parts.
There was another one for quality auto parts or discount auto parts. It
So
really
that's
was.
two other revenue streams that we haven't even covered. We're
Like
talking
how are
about
there
a multi-billion-dollar enterprise.
how does this have advertisers? How does this have like
Advertisers.
SpawnCon mixed into the damn thing?
My favorite part of this movie, and it's and
It's
the
the
script
ending.
and everything,
It's the ending.
Well, okay. Take the ending out of it because we haven't even gotten there yet.
Okay. All right.
But before we get to the ending, my favorite part is uh, when they're talking about the saturation of the web. Oh, I'm sorry, the World Wide Web. They call it,
Yes.
it's 2007, and he calls it the World Wide Web.
And it does at one point.
FOH. But uh, my favorite thing is when they're talking about saturating with advertising and trying to get people into the thing. They're like, yeah, we went on sports. Is it sports blogs
It's sports blogs,
and
porn blogs,
and
and gaming.
pornography?
Yeah, gamers.
Pornography. And so I'm like, you advertised this, you fake advertised this fake movie on pornography sites. And I want to make fun of it, but I think it might be the best like jab at marketing that I've heard in a long time. They knew what the audience was for this thing in the script. They knew what they were doing, and they took a dump on the movie right then and there, and were like, "Take it out if you want to, but it's in there." And they were just like, "Nah, man, deliver that line. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's in the script. We love it." That's the common denominator of the audience for the actual film being made. And they just listed it out in the movie, and nobody caught it. They just let it ride. Cool. That was awesome to me.
There's just, yeah.
Whose idea do you think it was to try to have a message in the movie?
The initial writer.
The initial writer. And then they just muddied it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just muddied it to hell. Yeah.
And they muddied it to the point where there isn't anything worth listening to.
Well, I think what happens is I think there's a vestigial bit of that from the original scripts of the idea that there's a moralizing aspect of this, people getting cold feet or second guessing what they're doing. I think that's part of because the guy who wrote the original script, like he was a real screenwriter. He wrote lots of stuff. Not necessarily the best movies per se, but like he was an experienced screenwriter. So the guy wrote like 14 MacGyvers. Like he knew something about a story that takes place over a period of time. He could tell a story. So like you have to give a certain amount of credit to him on that.
And there is, to the credit of this thing, I've seen a lot of like geezers. I've seen a lot of like these kinds of boring, stupid action movies. Even the fact that there was like plot, there was real. The characters were there. The plot was there. They were just stupid, redundant, violent, ugly, massacring moron shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's bad. But knowing that it was rewritten 150 times, or whatever, knowing that, I know for a fact that this had elements of real, like a real movie for a while. I believe that.
Yeah.
So I think probably the first guy that wrote it was the one that was like, "This is going to have like morals and standards," and Vince came in and was like, "Okay, in this rewrite, we're going to get rid of morals.
Yeah,
and in the next one, we'll work on standards." Let's see what happens.
I think what ends up happening is if we continue with this theory, it's that the original screenwriter puts the morality stuff in there. It gets whittled away, but in the mind of the subsequent screenwriter, Mr. Wiper, I believe it was him who comes up with the like, and now Vinnie Jones is going to execute every single one in the production room for doing this.
So the ending.
Yeah.
So I like to call these kinds of movies Society 89s, where you suffer through an hour and 40 minutes of tripe. Absolute tripe.
Shad, do you know when he says Society 89, do you know what he's talking about?
No.
It's
you might have to explain this.
Real quick. Society 89 is a horror movie. It was made in 89. The name of the movie is Society, but there are more than one. There's movies out there called Society. So you got to call it Society 89. Society 89 is about a bunch of rich people, and you spend like an hour and 20 minutes just dealing with these rich people and being like, what is the point of this movie? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I still watching this? And then the last 10 minutes is one of the most grotesque, wild, absolutely out of nowhere things in the history of film. And it makes all of it worth it.
Okay.
And I will sit down with people and be like, you just got to stick it out. And they'll turn to me and be like, I would literally rather do anything than this. And you're like, please wait.
Yeah.
Please stick with this. And it gets there. I think there was one called Men recently. Do you
Okay.
remember this?
Yeah, man, that was I think was that the same
I forget
director
the dude's name.
as
Yeah.
28 Days Later.
For me, this was also a Society 89 type of film. The
Okay.
last like 15 minutes, you're just like, whoa, why wasn't it this the whole time? Why did we sit through your like hour and 45 minutes of like proselytizing about how terrible everything is when you could have just shown us
Yes.
how terrible everything is for 15 minutes? That's how I feel about this film. Is the last 10 minutes when he starts gunning down producers
Yeah.
and production assistants and just being like, and like then sits down and gives his side of the story.
Yeah.
And Steve's like, see ya. It's just, it's like they know how to deliver comeuppance in the WWE. Comeuppance is like the name of the game in wrestling. If you believe in the comeuppance, you will follow those guys anywhere.
Yeah.
And they were like, we know you sat through a lot of nonsense, but I'd like you to understand everyone now dies.
I was
Everyone.
I was not expecting
We're
that.
wiping the island clean, baby. It was awesome. It was so good. Sorry.
I
I
was
really love the
Yeah,
ending.
I was not expecting that turn. I was not
And
expecting.
then Nickelback. We get some bonus Nickelback.
The whole time I was watching, I was like, this is Nickelback coded, and I don't know why, and I don't know enough about Nickelback to even understand why. And then in the end, it's like, oh yeah, this was just a Nickelback related the whole time.
The opening and closing door of this film were like the beginning is nothing but people being let out of prison gates. And then the last scene, he's like, prison gates won't open up for me. And you're like, dude, and you chose that one. Thank you so much
The
for this
literalism,
ending. I'd like
the
the
literalism of
sun
a
came out,
figurative
even though I watched it in
song.
the middle of the night. The sun came out.
Like the song is metaphor. The song is metaphor, and they're taking it
Yeah.
literally, which says
Yes.
everything about this film.
Yeah.
Everything about
Yes.
this film is like the song has prison gates in it. That's the one. And they
That's
start
the one.
playing it. They start playing the song. It is a song that I am actually very, very familiar with. And I
You are.
they're playing it so long in the beginning of that final scene that they're actually looping the intro because
Yeah.
it's taking so long for the truck to come down the road
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't
towards
want
the
to give away the
ranch.
chorus is the end of the film, so they can't give you
Yeah.
the chorus yet.
Yeah, the chorus is the end of the film. So like they
So they
do all
looped
this.
it twice.
It is so like so many of the other things that happen in this film, it is just another sign of what the filmmakers and the producers, what they think of the audience of this film. And what they think is that this song is going to make a movie theater full of wrestling bros go, "Oh shit." That's what they think is going to
Are
happen.
are they wrong?
Well, the thing is, we're watching this now in 2025 when that song is, if you go on to certain corners of Instagram and TikTok, heavily memed,
You
super
mean
heavily memed.
you mean the corner that you have forced into my life and now won't leave me alone? Yeah, I
Correct.
know that
Yes,
corner.
exactly
I
that.
know it really well.
Look, the
The
first thing
core I like to call it the Coors Light chill zone.
it is, if I'm going to be completely candid with you, Shad, the reason why we're watching this movie, the
It's
reason
true.
why we
I
watched
knew.
this movie was because I saw a clip on Instagram of the ending of the movie. And I said, if this is what this movie ends like, I
Yeah.
have to see the whole thing. And now I realize I probably should have just watched the clip
No,
on.
because the ending was all you actually needed.
Really, I just needed the clip.
Truly.
Clip was
Uh
good.
What about the fire starter drop? That
Oh,
was pretty heavy. That
that
was
was hype.
that was
The music doesn't make a whole lot of sense in this movie per se, but that part was banging.
it did.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh
I mean,
I'll
it's
say
like it's 10 years too late because that
Yeah.
song came out like I think it came out in
right.
I think it hit the US in 97. I think it came out
It
in
was literally
96.
10 years
I think in
later
the
when
UK it came out in 96 because I remember like I had a copy of like
Yeah.
a UK import CD single
Were
of
you a
like of it.
Firestarter guy?
I was a huge fan of the Prodigy. Like I liked all the early
So
Ravey
you were a
stuff, and then
Firestarter.
like
I call the fans Firestarters.
okay, well I was definitely a fan at that time. I liked all this. I liked a lot of what they were doing, and like so hearing this in the film, I'm just like, okay, okay. You chose that. That's got it. Understood. All right. But then
Yeah.
there's songs by Eels on here.
Yeah.
There's a Ryan Adams song in this
That
thing.
listen, okay, so the Ryan Adams song, we get this Nickelback song, and it's
Yeah.
the credit song. We're getting all the credits, you know? And you're like, man, if I'm into this movie, which I wasn't, but if I was, I'd be all fired up. And then they're like, let's keep the party going with a Ryan Adams song that doesn't cover the rest of the credits. So we have to put in a third song. And it makes zero sense in the context of the film.
Yeah. The music.
It was a troubling choice to me to be. I like that song somewhat, and I'm like, now it's ruined in a way, and it's been in my head ever since. It really is annoying.
The Prodigy was 10 years too late, but it still hit.
Yeah.
And then the Black Betty drop was also maybe 10 years too late, but still kind of hit
Maybe
because
25, 30 years too late, even.
yeah.
Well, it's the wrong version of the song to
Right.
really start it off there, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah. But the right one for that movie. It's the
Oh,
Fair enough.
yeah, it's the right one for that movie for a lot of reasons. But the number one reason is that this movie is about 98% Australian. They shot the entire movie in Queensland, Australia. Nearly every actor you see on screen is an Australian actor, including some
Mm,
of the quote unquote ethnic characters they presented there and say this person's from here and there. They're Australian. And that Black Betty cover is by an Australian rock trio called Spiderbait.
yeah.
So it's just like it perfectly matches this fundamentally
Bambalam.
Australian movie. It's just okay,
Bambalam.
everything feels a little off and a little not quite right. It's
yeah.
like this doesn't feel like that because like oh look, I know and that like a lot of the action movies that I consume were filmed in Canada. We
Yeah.
know
Mm,
this because they don't shoot in New York. And like if I watch one of these with my wife, she goes like, "That's Vancouver."
Yeah.
You know, and so or she'll be like, "I'll bet you that's Toronto. I'll bet you." Like she'll be right. Like because that's where these things get filmed. So when I'm seeing Australia, I'm saying this the setting of this, I'm like, this is not in North America. This is someplace
yeah.
very much else.
Yeah. Yeah.
No part of this.
Yeah. I'm the same. I got this. I can tell when it's Canada, and it didn't feel like Canada or America to me. You know the Bob Odenkirk, the Nobody,
Yeah.
that's filmed in Winnipeg.
See, that makes total sense to me.
I
Yeah.
knew
Of
that.
course, it's filmed in Winnipeg. Are those like the bus scene? Are those like the buses in Winnipeg, or is that not?
Yeah. I'm like, kind of recognize this, but and it sort of looks like Chicago, but a little more run down, a little bit
Yeah,
more. I'm like, this is a weird version of Chicago, which is Winnipeg.
yeah.
Mm,
And Winnipeg when it's not snowing, because that's very impressive. They
Yeah,
found they found the 2 months a year where it's not snowing,
yeah.
which is great. But I'd also
Good
read
filming
recently.
schedule.
I also read recently, which is sort of like I hadn't quite realized that actually, like for a lot of years, Winnipeg was considered Canada's murder capital. I'd read
yeah,
something about like like a per capita
yeah, yeah.
situation.
I could.
So in Canada, that's where they would murder for capital.
Mm, there you
Yeah,
go.
I don't know if any Winnipeg rappers have used that one, but they probably could.
I know a few Winnipeg rappers. Shout out Len Bowen, for sure.
My God,
Definitely,
Oh yeah, I'm a
definitely fuck with
fan
Len Bowen. We gotta have him on the show at some point too.
for sure.
That side combo, but we should definitely have him on the show soon. But yeah, like it's something where like this is supposed to be an American guy's movie, and we're seeing the big Texan dude, and it's just like he doesn't belong in it, and it really is like
No.
this was supposed to be his transition because he had essentially stopped wrestling full time at this stage.
So
He'd been a
so
few years away from it at this point, right?
Stone Cold got hurt really badly in a match. I want to say it was with Owen Hart on the Little Stones, or maybe not. But
Uh,
I he messed his back up real good. And for a long time, his sort of connection to the company was a feud would start, and then he would play this game of one-upsmanship of like doing wild pranks. or like coming out and disrupting matches, but he didn't really wrestle a lot.
Hmm.
And so he was sort of forced to retire early because of injury. And yeah, I believe that this was supposed to sort of be the next step in his evolution to like push him towards something. But script bad, not amazing film, etc., etc. He also wasn't great.
Yeah.
He
I
was
didn't
just a
s-
big wooden stump in most of the movie.
I didn't see any promise in him for going
No,
forward. And I mean, obviously the films he did after this, largely direct-to-video stuff with a very few
yeah.
exceptions, like sort of direct-to-video, direct-to-digital. He's been like he basically kind of around 2015 he just sort of stopped doing this
And
sort
this
of
stuff
thing.
was very physical
Yeah.
because he has to be an action star. I mean, there's just I'm not seeing him in other roles getting his first break. Like I just don't see Stone Cold being like someone's drunk dad or something. You know what I mean? Like
No.
he needs to be an action star, and he's got to do the same kind, not the same kind, but like certainly heavy lifting that doesn't bode well for a bad back and a sour disposition.
They tried to I feel like they threw a couple of lines in his strike zone. I'm
Mm.
curious how you guys thought he handled it. Like when they first talked to him and he's being kind of cheeky. I forget exactly what it is they said. Like, where
The interview,
the interview, they threw a couple over the plate for him. I thought he did okay.
yeah, yeah, when he's just like being a jerk to people,
Yeah. Yeah.
two thumbs up. Like
Yeah.
his first line essentially is tell the warden to kiss my ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not doing that. This doesn't concern me. I'm sorry, I don't care. You know what I mean? That stuff was cool. And yeah, he has a couple of lines when God, what's his already Breck. When
Yeah.
Breck's interviewing him and he's just like, my favorite was what were you doing there? Getting a tan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why'd you blow up that building? It's blocking my sun. And
Exactly.
I like that was absolutely genius.
I was like, yeah. So there was a couple lines, yeah, where I'm like, okay, yeah, they put it in a strike zone, and he did pretty good, but they needed more of that.
Absolutely. You also had scenes, and I think we started discussing this scene, but I do want to like really get into the gears of the scene and what was happening. But
Yeah.
the
Okay.
tower scene, when
Yeah.
he's now escaped and he has found the production lab and he climbs up to a tower, calls his ex-girlfriend, and is like, hey, it's me. Two things happen at this point. One, she spends the entirety of the phone call yelling at him about having ruined their relationship by disappearing
Yeah.
years ago. This happened years ago. Also, knowing he's on a show where they're trying to hunt and kill him and time is of the essence, he also starts the conversation with, I don't have any time. I need you to like write this down. And her response to that is, where have you been? Where have you been? Let me smell your collar. Like, what has been going on? You just abandoned me. And now all of a sudden you called me for help. And he's like, and I would totally excuse that if it was out of the blue. But
Yeah.
she's been watching this unfold. She paid the $50
Paid
and
it.
is watching it unfold. And is still like, no, 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 no. Before we get into latitudes and longitudes, we need to talk about attitudes. It is so bad in every way. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
the evil production team has seen this like noted killer is like stalking them from right by them, and they're like, all right, what's the plan? He's like, well, let's alert him to our presence by cutting the power.
right.
That
Smart.
way he can get prepared, make it a fair fight for no reason whatsoever with this like ex-mill crazy person that's been just murdering people left and right. let's cut the power, make sure he knows we're coming. Then we'll loudly, now that no machines are on and you can hear everything, loudly climb a tree and like just kind of like peek in and see like what's going on. That's the plan. That's the plan we're going to go with when we have grenades. We have all these bombs everywhere and stuff. Just like toss a grenade in there and be like, all right, jump out of that thing and get hurt, and then we'll take you. No,
No.
It's just it's one of like the worst scenes we've watched in a long time. It
Sure.
drove me completely insane. And we watched them twice. So the second time we got to that scene, I was like, oh God. I like laid my head on my desk. I was like, please no. Please don't make me do this again. I can't. The plot holes combining explode into this idiocy. Complete and then from then on until the ending, the film is an absolute death trap.
So, do you guys watch the show Suits?
I
I
haven't,
don't know.
no.
This is one of the guys from Suits is on there. He's the main production coordinator, the guy who's in charge of all the cameras.
Sure.
Yeah, that guy did a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Goldie?
What was his name? Goldie. Goldie. Yeah, Goldie.
Yeah.
Goldie. They called him Goldie.
Goldie. Um,
All right, Pete
I'd never
Goldie.
seen him in anything else besides Suits. I think Suits really kind of made him a star. But to me, that was like another problem was the different tones because he kind of sort of like Steve Austin. He's better with that funny stuff, some of those lines, and Goldie, he can also kind of play neurotic, funny, and he was doing that a bit, being in charge of this production. So they would just, I don't know, for some reason, they'd have these like little moments of almost comedic relief, but it's such a different tone from, yeah, this dark Australian action film. Just tonally, it was all over the place for me too, among
Yeah.
other.
100%.
I
Yeah,
think it would have been a better movie if somebody threw a pie.
yeah.
Just somebody throw a pie. Hey there, Jeff.
Gary, I can't watch something like that again. We can't back to back it. I can
Mhm.
see into your eyes. I can see you wanting to do the Condemned too. I feel it in your core essence.
It's right
You're
there.
emanating the sequel to this, and I we need a buffer. We need silly or serious or something that like has. We have to go with a new star. Everything. We
I mean,
need
there's so
something else.
many. I mean, I
That
can
was
understand maybe
awful.
you don't want to watch Randy Orton play the Steve Austin part in
I'm
that.
not saying never. I'm just saying we can't back to back two WWE
But like so many,
shitty action movies in a row.
but here's the thing, so many of the movies that like are on our long list are WWE movies. Like they are these sorts of action movies. Like there's the
There.
ones that came out around
So
this,
then that leaves silly. We need
like
maybe something a little sillier, or
I
I don't
mean what
know.
like I mean silly. I mean there's not like a ton of
What
I mean
good like
like
there's got to be some good ones that we have on the list.
I'll admit like a lot of the movies that are on the list are sort of kind of actiony, sort of
We are kind of painted in a corner
serious
here.
thriller. Like that's just sort of what they kind of gave these guys. Like there's very few things. I mean, I know for someone like you, you're looking at this being like, oh, I want to watch like, They Live. So at least there's some like social commentary about things. Like, there's a little bit there. And that's that. I mean, I know it's the kind of thing that's up your alley. You're like, let's not watch anymore. Let's not watch, movies where like
Oh,
Kane is a
Gary.
serial killer.
Oh, Gary.
Hmm?
You think you know me.
It's the Cabbages Podcast Network.